Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the Integrated Algebra Regents from January 2011. We're continuing on problem number 18. George's 9 grades in earth science were 92, 87, 91, 76, 83, 100, 95, 87, and 88. Which statement is true about the central tendencies? Central tendencies mean mean, median, and mode. So the first thing that I'll do is I'll find out the mean by adding up all of the numbers and dividing by the quantity of numbers there are. Add up to 799, divided by 9 is 88.7 repeating. Then I have to find the median. Remember, when you find the median, you order them from least to greatest, and then I can pair them up. The median is the middle number. If there are two middle numbers, add them up and divide by 2 to find the average of those two middle numbers. So the median is 88. And then the mode is what number occurs the most. There's only one number that occurs the most, it's 87, and it occurs twice. So here I have 88.7, 88, and 87. Now let's look at these comparative statements. Is the mean 88.7 greater than 87? Yes, that is correct. Let's check the rest. The mode is 87 greater than 88, which is the median. No. Is the mean, which is 88.7, less than the median, which is 88? No, this is 7/10 larger, so that's incorrect. Is the median equal to the mean? Does 88 equal 88.7? No. So we just double checked to make sure that was the only answer that was correct. Remember, central tendency means mean, median, and mode. The mean, adding up the numbers and dividing by the number of numbers there are. Median, order them from least to greatest and find the middle number. Mode, what number occurs the most. Sometimes they ask for range. Range is the largest minus the smallest. Number 19. Which interval notation represents the set of real numbers that are greater than 5, less than or equal to 12? Okay, let me see. My number has to be greater than 5. Okay, well that looks like 5 is less than x. Let's write it. My number is greater than 5. Less than or equal to 12. So my number has to be less than or equal to 12. Maybe I can graph this. Take a look at it on a number line. The important numbers are 5 and 12. Can I think of a number that's greater than 5 and less than or equal to 12? Yes, 7. So we know that we're going to be shading in between 5 and 12. It just says greater than 5, but it does say less than or equal to 12. What do I know about these? Because this still doesn't give us interval notation. Interval notation is the one with brackets and parentheses. Well, I know that I'm going to have 5 on the left and 12 on the right. I know that 5 is going to be a parenthesis. I know that 12 is going to be a bracket. But neither of these are correct because 5 is now a parenthesis and 12 is a bracket. There, we have 5 as a parenthesis and 12 as a bracket. If it said do it in set builder notation, it would have been all numbers x such that, and now notice that I shaded in between these 2 points, so my number is in between 5 and 12. And then I take a look and I see that this is open, so it's just going to be a less than. That's closed, so it's going to be a less than or equal to. It's as simple as that. If you have any questions, make sure you ask me in class. Here's number 20. What's the sum of any two fractions? First thing we do is we try to find a common denominator. We notice that they both have x in the denominator, not an x squared, so that makes it a lot easier. One of them doesn't have an x and the other one has a y. So the variables are the same. What's a common denominator between 3 and 6? You can count 3, 6, 9, 6, 12, 18. Common denominator is 6. If you didn't know, 6 was already the common denominator. I'm going to erase that. What do you multiply 3x to get to 6x? 2. So we have to multiply it by 2 over 2. Why do we multiply it by 2 over 2? Because 2 over 2 simplifies to be 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And 1 is the multiplicative identity. Multiply anything by 1, it doesn't change the fraction at all. So we're multiplying this by 2 over 2. 2 times 5 is 10. 3x times 2 is 6x. Plus, because it says sum, 7 over 6x. Remember, all you do is add the numerators. 17 is a prime number, so we know that it doesn't simplify at all. Let me fix these. Okay, and what do we see here? Do we see a 17 over 6x? Right there, choice number 3. What do we have to remember when we're adding fractions? We have to find a common denominator and then just add the numerators. Let's take a look at number 21. What is 2 square root of 3 plus 4 square root of 27 expressed in simplest form? Let's take a look at this and say, gee, what is 2 x plus 4? Can I use an x there for the square root of 27? No, I can't, because 3 is not the same as 27, so I can't use the same letter. So 2x plus 4y. You can't add those together. It wouldn't be asking us to add these together if we couldn't do anything. So let's take a look and see if we can simplify the square root of 27. Why didn't I try to simplify the square root of 3? Because 3 is a prime number. It can't be simplified. What is 27? 27 is 1 times 27, 3 times 9, or it's also 3 times 3 times 3. Okay. If we take 3 times 9, we notice that 9 is a perfect square. It has a square root. So 2 square root of 3 plus 4. I'm going to put the perfect square first, square root of 9, times square root of 3. We can factor that. We can't take them out if they were addition. If 27 was like 20 plus 7, we wouldn't be able to separate them. But since 9 times 3 is 27, we can separate them, factor it out. I know that the square root of 9 is 3. So 2 square root of 3 plus 4. What's the square root of 9? 3. So 4 times 3. We don't know what the square root of 3 is, so we bring it down. I know what 4 times 3 is. 2 square root of 3 plus 12 square root of 3. Now this is the same as 2x plus 12x. It's 14x. So 2 square root of 3 plus 12 square root of 3 is 14 square root of 3. Let's see if that's our answer. And it is choice 4. So the important thing to remember when we're dealing with radicals is that if we're going to add them together, I'm going to erase this in a second, right now. If you wanted to hit pause. Okay. When we're adding radicals or subtracting radicals, we have to have the same number underneath the square root. Just quickly, if we're going to multiply radicals, like we're going to go 2 square root of 3 times 4 square root of 27, you just do 2 times 4 is 8. Why can I do that? Let me do one more step in between here. I'm going to commute them. So 2 times 4 is 8, and then I can do 3 times 27 inside the radicals. So it's 8 times the square root of 81. Oh, well, the square root of 81 is 9. So if we're going to multiply them together, we would get 72. You don't have to get a common number inside the radical to multiply them. or to divide them. You only have to do it when you're adding and subtracting. Let's take a look at number 22. What's the slope of the line whose equation is this? Well, remember, it's easy to read the slope off of an equation when it's in y equals mx plus b. M is the slope, b is the y-intercept. So the first thing that I'm going to do personally is I'm going to add 3y to both sides. Why do I add 3y? Because the y was negative, and I don't want to deal with dividing by negative numbers. Remember, you can't add 20 and 3y together, so you just write 20 plus 3y or 3y plus 20. Now I'm going to subtract the 20 from both sides, and I get 5x minus 20 equals 3y. Dividing everything by 3, I don't care what the 20 divided by 3 is, but what I do care about is the 5/3. This just becomes a y. It looks like the y equals mx plus b slope. The y is by itself. The number touching the x is the slope. It's 5/3. Choice 4. If you have any questions, make sure you ask me tomorrow in class. Number 23. The figure to the right is composed of a half circle and a rectangle. What's the area of the figure to the nearest square inch? First thing that I do is I check to make sure that the units are in inches, and they are. I see I have a rectangle, so the rectangle is base times height, 120 times 96. The half circle is pi times radius squared. If this distance is 96 inches, then that distance has to be 96 inches. That's not the radius. The radius is half of the diameter, which is 48. But I didn't put that 1/2 in front, so I either have to put the 1/2 in front or I can put divide by 2 in the back. Let's do this with a calculator. So we're combining this, making sure we don't have to find what is the area of the figure. Okay, so it's not asking us for a shaded area, it's just asking us for the total figure. The rectangle is 120 times 96. We're going to add onto it the area of this half circle. So I can either put 1 divided by 2 times, or I'm just going to go right into the pi times radius squared first. I hit the second key, and I hit the caret key, which gives me pi, times the radius squared, 48 squared. Then I divide by 2, which is 1/2 of it. When I hit equals, it says to the nearest square inch. I couldn't see it for a second. I had to take a step back from the board. It's choice number 4. Okay. This is 14 minutes, so we're going to go on to number 24 in the next recording. If you have any questions, just ask me in class at any time.